Hello everyone, so today we're going to try to answer the question where and when Bitcoin's next pullback is. So let's just go over what I think the general market is going to do first. I don't think this is going to play out. The past two videos I mentioned this. I don't think this is going to play out where it's going to go up and do a go up a little bit and get a pullback. I think the reason being is that one, it is too obvious, so everyone is expecting that. Everyone's expecting it to go up and pull back. So usually when most people expect something like that to happen, it usually doesn't happen. The other reason, and probably the main reason why, is if we go ahead and put on the indicators for Litecoin. Notice how Litecoin already broke this blue median line, right? So this ichimoku blue median line. And if we look at Bitcoin, it hasn't done that yet. So, and if we go look back in the past, right, it didn't break that blue median line. But so that's why I did this. So my expectation is that more likely than not, as we go up, Litecoin's obviously going to go up. As Bitcoin go up, Litecoin's going to obviously go up. And since we're already out of the blue median line, my expectation is that we're just restarting the bull rally at this point in time. So then the next follow-up question is, if we are going to start the next bull rally, where do I think Bitcoin is going to do another pullback? The last two pullbacks, as well as this pullback, I was able to predict simply just due to Litecoin alone. So let's do a rewind of Litecoin. So let's do a replay, and I'll explain how I know. So if you use Litecoin, you would know when Bitcoin is going to pull back. So let's do this first one, the second one, and this third one, and how someone would know. So let's just go ahead and replay this. Please not. Okay, so this symbol, Litecoin divided by WM2NS, represents Litecoin without inflation. And let's suppose that you were here in September of 2020, right? You will be able to predict this high right here. You will be able to predict this high based on this chart because this is a 0.618. So you can imagine that you're right here, right? And you just drew from the bottom to the top. Then you would have known that there would have been major resistance here, and that's where Litecoin would have stopped. So then from this data forward, you would also be able to predict these other two, because what you would do is essentially like, suppose you were here, right? And you saw this bottom inputted. You simply just draw this from the bottom to the top, and you knew that there was going to be resistance here. And if you had noticed about Litecoin always moves up around 100% every single time. At least around 100% before it does a major pullback, and that's usually in correlation to whenever Bitcoin pulls back. So we go ahead and do that from there to there, and then we can also do from here to here, right? So now we know that these are the 2 points that, like, without even looking into the future, we know that these are the two resistance points. And would you look at that? It matches here. So given this information, we can more or less predict that Litecoin is going to stop here, and this is probably when Bitcoin is also going to pull back. So if we translate this information to Litecoin without inflation, then we can expect a 66% pump from here before the market does a pullback again. So we go ahead and draw this. Double check if this is 66%. So it's slightly higher. So we go right here, right? 66.4. So more or less, we're gonna get stopped around the same price as we were here, 230, 240. It looks like it's around 230 to 240. So if that happens, more or less, my expectation is that Bitcoin is probably going to be similar in that it's gonna more or less get stopped here. And notice that at that point in time, this green Kelter band is probably going to go down. So we are more or less going to hit here and then pull back. And I do expect us to take something similar to this amount of time here. So let's just go check the time frame for this one. It's around 24 bars, so about 24 days. Sorry, I'll put on 1 day chart. So I do expect us to take something similar in this amount of time. So about 48 days. So if we extrapolate 48 days, that doesn't mean it can't go faster or slower. It's just historically it took around this amount of time. I do expect us to take Well, I mean, it's a shorter distance, right? So we're making this one you're making a 80%, and this one you're making a 40%. So it might be shorter, it might be quicker. So I do expect around like February it would hit this price. And that should more or less align with whenever Litecoin hits it, say around February. I mean, it could take longer or shorter, we don't know, but that's my general sentiment. The other thing is that just to be safe, you don't rely on just one altcoin, like Litecoin, just to make that prediction. I normally use DOT to determine as a backup, like a reference. So when DOT is around $42, and so if you see DOT around $42.50, you see Litecoin at 240, you see Bitcoin at this resistance, more or less, it lines up to the point where, at least for me, I'm going to get out so that I don't so there's no suffering of this 20 or 30% drop, right? So let's assume that it's like 25% drop. We'd be back down here, right? We'll be back down to practically the prices down here. This is a narrow band, so I'm not sure if we're going to have that severe of a drop. There's also a chance that we can just go straight up here. Like, I would not be surprised if we go all the way up here and then pull back, and that correlates with the timing of Litecoin being here. So Litecoin being at 240 and Bitcoin being at 6,800. One way to check that is just to use LTC BTC, so Litecoin Bitcoin, and see if there's any sort of a resistance pattern with that Litecoin Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and remove all of this. So if you run the calculation, right, so you would do these two calculations. You would do 69,000 and 55,000 divided by 240, and then you will see what the Satoshi is, and you will get a sense of whether or not it makes sense of which of the levels it's going to stop at. So let's just go ahead and pull up a calculator. And we go ahead and take Bitcoin at 57,700. 57,800. Let's just say 50,800. So no, sorry. You get Litecoin number first. So you get 240. So let's assume that Litecoin goes to 240. 240 divided by 57,700. Oh, sorry. 57,700. And then we get a Satoshi of 4159. So let's go ahead and just mark that 4159, which is right here. 4159. Okay, that's good enough. And then 240 divided by let's assume that it's gonna get stop right here. 68,000. So 6880. And then we get 3488. So it does seem like we're more likely to get stopped in the middle here rather than up here. But essentially, you just want to make sure that all three lines up. And when that happens, it's time to get out, or at least for a short period of time before you enter. So you can save yourself, 25%, or depending on which altcoin you're in, right? Because Bitcoin's going to drag the entire alt class down. You can save yourself, 30-40%. So that's just how I predict the whenever Bitcoin pullback. You're just using Litecoin, remove the inflation, because the reason why you want to remove the inflation is because notice these two peaks. Like these two peaks are wildly different, and that's how much the inflation affects it. Removing the inflation allows for the measurement, allows for the tool of Fibonacci to be more accurate. So yeah, that's how I would predict whenever Bitcoin pulls back. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you do, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, you guys take care.